start with that opening statement on today's meet against Baylor?
Sure. I'm really proud of the young women that went out there and competed today. Going against number one in the nation, that's a really tough opponent, and honestly, they leveled up and they played up to our opponent, and I couldn't be happier with the results of today's competition.
Questions?
You have the mic.
Zach, Abby?
Oh,
We have to pass the mic. Smooth. Mick, there's a couple stars. The Pyramid Heat 3 and Tumbling Trio both were wins for you all against number one. Just hearing the ovation of the girls from those moments, just what did that mean to you, seeing just how excited they were specifically with those two heats?
It meant a lot. Our open pyramid was one that we had an injury the last meet, and so we were really hopeful that she was going to be able to go out there and compete, and so for her to overcome that and be able to do that today and then also beat Baylor, I mean, that's incredible. So that was definitely a really cool moment for us, and then for trio to happen as well, that was just, we were over the moon. We were really over the moon. So just happy to be building off of kind of the foundation that's already been set, and then continuing to grow right now, especially at this time in season. I think they're at a really good spot as far as peaking.
Coach, other than those two events, where did you see like your team really take a step up since the last meet or grow?
So we actually dropped some start values back, which obviously against number one, you might want to add start values, but to clean things up sometimes is a little more rewarding. So we were able to clean things up, and I have the sheet in front of me, the highlighted scores, and actually two of the things that we cleaned up, we scored better on. So those were our program highs, I think, as well. But yeah, we're just trying to clean things up and trying to make sure that they're confident out there. So I think that really paid off for us.
And then continuing, Sienna Johnson is just a focal point, and your eye takes it right to her. Can you just speak to what she's added, not only in this meet, but for the program as well?
She's a rock star athlete. I mean, she's solid. She definitely gets nervous, but when she competes, she shines. So she's one of those athletes that in practice, she may be a little rocky, but for some reason, she really turns it on during competition. And so she's I would say, a trustworthy athlete, someone that you could really rely on. And every single time she's gone out there, she's done a fantastic job. So definitely a rock star for us.
We talked before about finding spots and going with guts. You had some events where there was no designated caller, really. It was Coach Nikki that was calling. Just what led to that decision, and just how on point were they with those calls in those moments?
I think, again, they did everything that we were hoping for as far as those calls. They stepped up in ways that I think even in practice right now, like, we haven't seen them step up that way. So I think, again, they rose to the occasion.
Coach, I knew this coming in, but seeing it was a different thing. The beautiful thing for me from the sport was the strength and the grace of this. And I was wondering if you just can speak to seeing that in young women in this day and age in a sport like this.
It's what it's about. I mean, we're building young teams across the country and trying to empower women all over. And so I think right now, even our team, like, we were constantly cheering. We're always trying to constantly cheer for the team next to us. We're not a defensive sport, so we get to actually support each other. And so Baylor's an incredible opponent. I mean, they're number one in the nation for a reason. And so some of the skills that they're going out there and doing is literally top in the nation. And so other teams aren't achieving that level yet. And so it's something that should be celebrated every time a new skill goes out there as we're paving the way through this young sport. So yeah, they're making history. And again, we're trying to empower everybody at like each step of the way where we're laying our foundation.
On that same note, is that why you have the little traditions, like, you know, going through the tunnel or the various things like that, just to support?
Yeah, and that comes as it goes. You know, they start making new traditions and new things every single year, and that's what kind of builds your culture and what makes your team your team.
How did it feel being back at home after 3 straight road meets?
Great. We felt more confident, I think. They were hitting a lull in season where they were trying to push, but at this point it was like finally back in home court. We have not home court advantage, but definitely a feeling of just comfort going out there, and again, dropping the start values too. They went out there with a totally different aura than I think they were going out there against our other opponents.
And you talked about empowering, you know, women and future generations. I mean, there was a little gym here from the area. What does it mean to have them in attendance and see the sport?
It's great. I mean, we're hoping to continue to spread the word in the Pittsburgh area, just for people to understand that this sport is available and it's out there. A lot of people still don't know about it, so to have a young crowd like that out in the stands, seeing that, and you know, there's a quote that if you see it, or if you see her, you can be her. And I think that's something that we always try to instill in our athletes, and then obviously for future generations. But again, same thing. That's what we're doing. You know, we're trying to build something new and empower young women across the country.
Mick, we talked a couple days ago about this, and also with LIU on Sunday. Just how did you find the balance? More specifically, how did the girls find the balance, and how did you like that they found that balance tonight between those?
I think they're believing in it. They're really believing in some of the coaching decisions. You know, it's not easy to drop start values. They can feel defeated that way, where they're not achieving a level, but ultimately, to keep it clean again, they went out with a totally different confidence, and I think that we'll see that confidence again at LIU. So again, just hitting the right, like I would say, the sweet spot in season. And I think that we did find that balance today, and I think it paid off as far as our season high.